Welcome to AnewZ. I'm Leila Masimova, bringing you the latest news on our very first day of broadcast 2025. It's a new year and we're here to keep you informed with the top stories shaping our world. Let's get started. People around the globe marked the arrival of 2025 with unique traditions and celebrations, from grand firework displays to quiet moments of reflection. Europe's Russian gas era comes to an end as Ukraine transit stops. The people of France have named Giselle Pelicot, the victim of a long-term mass rape, as Person of the Year. People around the world mark the arrival of 2025 with unique traditions and celebrations, from grand firework displays to quiet moments of reflection. Each country embraces the new year in its own special way.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
As 2025 began, countries around the world marked the occasion with unique celebrations, reflecting their cultures, traditions and hopes for the future. New Zealanders were amongst the first in the world to celebrate the arrival of the new year. They welcomed the new year with a visually stunning display in Auckland. The 5-minute spectacle involved over 500 kilograms of pyrotechnics launched from various sites. In Thailand, the new year was ushered in with an eco-friendly fireworks display made from sticky rice, stretching 1,400 meters. The colorful 6-act show featuring pastel and gold hues honored the country's heritage under the theme celebrating the everlasting legacy of Siam. Qatar celebrated in Lusail with a unique drone and firework display spelling out 2025. The country's festivities drew crowds, many capturing the moment as drones lit up the sky alongside the pyrotechnic show, symbolizing the transition into the new year. Greece's ancient Parthenon temple on the Acropolis had a quiet new year with a limited fireworks and a small drone display. The mayor of Athens initiated these quieter celebrations to minimize the distress caused to pets and animals by loud fireworks. In Kenya, traditional celebrations took place in Ruiru, where locals gathered to share roasted goat meat or nyama choma, a beloved dish deeply embedded in Kenyan culture. In the capital, Nairobi, church services provided a quieter way to ring in the new year with songs and prayers for peace and prosperity. Serious New Year celebrations took place in Damascus, where fireworks lit up the night sky amidst the backdrop of significant political changes. Meanwhile, in Russia, Moscow's celebrations was marked by a hope for peace and prosperity, even without fireworks. Many in crowd expressed cautious optimism for the future. In Ukraine, the situation remained somber as a curfew restricted celebrations in Maidan Square due to the ongoing war with Russia. A magnificent festive fireworks display was also held at the Seaside National Park in Baku. Besides the New Year holiday, on December 31st, Azerbaijani people also celebrate World Azerbaijani Solidarity Day. Baku residents who gathered at the Seaside Park and the central streets of the capital observed the celebration sceneries with a great joy.
Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev delivered a New Year address, emphasizing that the region of South Caucasus must become a hub of peace, tranquility and cooperation.
President Ilham Aliyev delivered his New Year address, reflecting on the significant accomplishments of 2024 while addressing pressing challenges in the South Caucasus. The president highlighted what he described as Azerbaijan's diplomatic and political success in affirming new geopolitical realities in the region. However, he expressed concern about Armenia's actions, which could potentially destabilize the fragile peace that has been achieved.
Cənubi Qafqazda
We affirm these new realities diplomatically, internationally and politically.
Diplomatik, beynəlxalq və siyasi müstəvidə təsdiqlədik. Bütün dünya
The entire world has accepted these new realities.
bunları qəbul edib. Ona görə Ermənistanın
Therefore, Armenia's large-scale rearmament campaign, I believe, poses a new threat to the region.
Hesab edirəm ki, bölgə üçün növbəti təhdid mənbəyidir. Və əgər
If we were to identify the most concerning issue for us this year, it would undoubtedly be Armenia's rearmament.
qeyd etsək, təbii ki, bu Ermənistanın silahlanmasıdır. Bunun heç bir
There is no logical explanation for this.
izahatı yoxdur.
In his address, President Aliyev strongly criticized what he referred to as Armenia's ongoing military buildup, warning that it could undermine peace efforts and escalate tensions in the region. He reminded the audience of the devastating consequences of past conflicts and urged Armenia to abandon what he termed a dangerous path. The president reiterated Azerbaijan's readiness to defend its sovereignty and prevent any possible threats to regional stability.
Cənubi Qafqaz sülh.
The South Caucasus must be a region of peace, tranquility and cooperation.
Ermənistanın geniş miqyaslı və sürətli
Armenia's large-scale and rapid rearmament and the procurement of lethal weapons could undermine this peace, the possible peace.
poza bilər. Və bir şeyi də qeyd etməliyəm, Azərbaycan
And I must emphasize that Azerbaijan will not merely act as a spectator regarding this matter.
bağlı tamaşaçı rolunda olmayacaq. 30 illik işğal, dağıntılar,
The 30 years of occupation, destruction, the devastation of Karabakh and eastern Zangezur, the Khojaly genocide, and the displacement of 1 million of our people due to Armenia's actions will never be erased from our memory.
heç vaxt silinməyəcək. Biz bunu heç vaxt unutmayacağıq.
We will never forget this.
Ermənistanın işğalçılıq siyasəti
Armenia's aggressive policies and their nature must always be considered.
daima nəzərə alınmalıdır. Ona görə bir daha
Thus, once again, I find it necessary to issue another warning to Armenia's leadership. Refrain from this dangerous path.
yoldan çəkinsinlər.
President Aliyev concluded his address by stating that despite numerous challenges and external pressures, the country has successfully restored its territorial integrity and strengthened its sovereignty. The head of state shared an optimistic outlook for the future, encouraging unity and solidarity among Azerbaijanis, while extending heartfelt holiday greetings to the nation and the diaspora.
Azərbaycan inamla, uğurla, ləyaqətlə
Azerbaijan has been advancing confidently, successfully, and with dignity.
sınaq məqamları da olub.
These years have not been without challenges, trials, and wars. There have been unfounded accusations against us, but none of these could divert us from our path.
Biz ərazi bütövlüyümüzü də bərpa etdik.
We have restored our territorial integrity, despite the wishes of global powers. We have restored our state sovereignty, once again defying the will of major powers.
İradəsinə zidd olaraq
And we govern our country with confidence.
idarə edirik. Bizim ayağımıza
Those who seek to hinder us will face failure once again.
iflasa uğrayacaq. Əziz həmvətənlər,
Dear compatriots, today is the day of solidarity of world Azerbaijanis. I wholeheartedly congratulate all Azerbaijanis around the world on this occasion.
ürəkdən təbrik edirəm. Əziz xalqıma
I wish my dear people good health, prosperity, happiness and success.
bayramınız mübarək olsun.
Happy holidays.
The investigation into the Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash near Aktau, Kazakhstan is moving forward. Kazakh government's commission say preliminary findings will be released within 30 days. Kazakhstan's Deputy Transport Minister Talgat Lastayev confirms that investigators are gathering evidence from the crash site and analyzing materials at Aktau Airport. The flight recorders have been sent to Brazil for examination. The Embraer 190 aircraft crashed on December 25 en route from Baku to Grozny, killing 38 of the 67 people on board. Azerbaijan has called for transparent international inquiry, and national findings suggest the plane was attacked by a Russian air defense system while approaching Grozny. South Korea completes identification of all 179 victims of Jeju airplane crash. Authorities are focusing on the cause of the tragedy with the safety concerns about the airport's runway design.
South Korea's acting President Choi Sang-mok confirmed that all victims of the Jeju Air Flight 2216 crash had been identified and their bodies returned to families for funeral services.
Identification of all 179 victims were completed overnight. The bodies of victims were transferred to their family members, and funeral services have started after the bodies arrived at funeral halls.
The disaster on Sunday claimed 179 lives, making it one of South Korea's deadliest aviation accidents. The Boeing, en route from Thailand, crashed while landing at Muan International Airport, skidding off the runway, hitting a concrete embankment and exploding. Authorities, including experts from the US National Transportation Safety Board and Boeing, are investigating the cause, with potential factors like a disabled control system or bird strikes.
Currently, South Korea's investigators, along with the US National Transportation Safety Board and manufacturer, are conducting a joint investigation of the cause of the accident. The cause of the accident will be revealed by comprehensively analysing and reviewing detailed investigations of the aircraft, fuselage, and black box.
In response, the South Korean government has pledged a full safety review of its airports and airline fleet. Inspections of all Boeing 737-800s are underway, and the Transport Ministry will reassess airport regulations to ensure international compliance.
Russian gas supplies to European Union countries via Ukraine have ended after a 5-year deal between Ukraine's gas transit operator Naftogaz and Russia's Gazprom expired. Kyiv earlier said the deal would not be extended.
Russian gas supplies to Europe via Ukraine ended as a 5-year transit deal between Russian Gazprom and Ukraine's Naftogaz expired. Kyiv has refused to negotiate a new transit deal, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying earlier that the deal would not be extended, giving the EU a year to prepare. The European Commission said the continent had sufficient capacity to cope with the end of transit via Ukraine. Moldova, which is not part of the EU, could be seriously affected as the gas fueled a power plant on which the country relies for most of its electricity needs. It also supplied the Russia-backed breakaway region of Transnistria. The Soviet-era pipeline via Ukraine brought gas from Siberia via the town of Sudzha, now under the control of Ukrainian soldiers in Russia's Kursk region. It then flowed through Ukraine to Slovakia, where the pipeline splits into branches going to Czechia and Austria. Ukraine is giving up some $800 million a year in fees from Russia, while Gazprom will lose close to $5 billion in gas sales to Europe via Ukraine. Russia can still send gas to Europe through the Turk Stream pipeline across the Black Sea, while most other gas routes to the continent are shut, including Yamal Europe via Belarus and Nord Stream under the Baltic that was blown up in 2022. The EU has significantly reduced imports of Russian gas since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022.
The people of France have named 72-year-old Giselle Pellico, who was the victim of a long-term mass rape organized by her husband, as a person of the year. These are the results of a survey by a Dr. Matzke Institute of Public Opinion. The institute noted that the personality of this woman, her dignity, as well as the horror of what she had to go through, moved the French. Giselle Pellico was voted by 38% of respondents. She was ahead of US President-elect Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. French President Emmanuel Macron scored 14%. Ivory Coast has announced that French troops will withdraw from the West African nation, further reducing the military influence of the former colonial power in the region. Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara said the presence of French troops reflects the country's military modernization. Senegal confirmed French troop withdrawal will be completed by 2025. Ivory Coast hosts the largest French contingent in the West Africa, with 600 personnel. France has already withdrawn from Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, and Chad ended its defense pact with France in November. A critical failure in Puerto Rico's power grid caused a widespread blackout early Tuesday, leaving nearly 90% of the island without electricity just as it prepared for New Year celebrations. The outage began at 5:30 a.m. and affected dozens of people. By 9 p.m., about 58% of island remained without power, so essential facilities like hospitals had their electricity restored. Luma Energy, the company responsible for the power disruption, said it could take up to 48 hours to fully restore service. The outage was linked to a failure in the key power line operated by Luma. The crisis in Syria has led to the collapse of its electricity infrastructure. This had also resulted in a sharp decline of conventional energy resources. The country's electricity supply has fallen to less than 25% of pre-war levels.
The destruction of power plants and critical infrastructure, coupled with difficulties in securing the fuel required to operate them, has reduced Syria's total power generation to below 2,000 megawatts. This limited supply must be distributed across more than 13 provinces. However, electricity is essential for both the country's economy and the daily lives of its people.
The prices must be lowered. They are too expensive for citizens regarding what they earn.
Prolonged power outages have placed a heavy burden on the Syrian population. They've turned to private generators and batteries to produce and store energy. In Zamalka, a town near Damascus, there's been no government-provided electricity for over 13 years. Residents rely on private generators and solar power to meet their energy needs. The sound of generators in the town is deafening, but these machines are a lifeline for those who wish to live there.
The war has destroyed the power grid, which the government has not fixed, so people have started to connect cables from generators to their houses. But the problem is that the people cannot afford it. It costs 50,000 to 60,000 Syrian pounds, around 4 to 4.6 US dollars a week to power just one light bulb.
The main electricity grid is damaged. People use alternative transmission lines to deliver power to homes plunged into darkness. Prolonged power outages have also affected businesses, as the area hosts numerous workshops.
The cost of final product is increasing. Before the war, I only had to pay my cost and the cost of raw materials. But now, I have to add electricity, so the final cost is drastically increasing.
The problems in the energy sector are not limited to power outages.
That's all for today from Baku. Thank you for joining us on our first broadcast of 2025. Wishing you a wonderful start of the year, and we'll see you soon.